Alright, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to 88 Goals. Today we will be playing my Week 5 match. I am matched up against the one and only Meta in this one. Meta with a little awkward face. And unfortunately I also did not look at their team names. But I will have it written in the description down below for the match. This week is a make or break for me. I am currently on a 2-game loss streak and sitting 1-3 at a dead even plus minus for diff. So this is really where I can get back on track and get towards playoffs, or I can fall apart and make it very difficult and force myself to have to win 3 in a row. And this is no easy feat of a match. I am playing a team with 2 very strong Terra Pokemon with Tornadus Therian and Urshifu Single Strike. And to pair that, we have Terapagos, we have Galarian Slowking, Ogerpon Hearthflame, Sylveon, Azelf, Piloswine, and Suicune. So, this is a very interesting match. I would not be surprised to even see something like Suicune. But I think something like Sylveon is gonna come to deal with Pokemon like to deal with Rapid Strike if it's non-Terra. I haven't Terra'd and I just decided to be dumb and switch it in. But Sylveon can also work against like Meowscarada if I'm gonna be if we're gonna be playing with knockoffs and dark type stuff. Because Sylveon does a lot of damage. Even though it's a more defensively built Pokemon, it still does quite a lot. Regardless, this week I was not 100% sure how to deal with Torn, and I wasn't sure. And Terapagos in itself is also very difficult to beat. Although Rapid Strike does help quite a bit with something like Terapagos. However, this is the final week that I will be using this team, and I will go over the changes to the team now while I am here. So the matchup will change here. So here we go. As of next week, I have decided to make a couple of moves for my team. Sorry, this will have to go change a little bit as we are adding more Pokemon. We are adding 3 Pokemon and dropping 2. So, as I will go over here shortly, my team right now has Grafaiai and has Clodsire. So Clodsire and Grafaiai are getting dropped to pick up Overquill. Overquill is 1 point more than Clodsire, so in dropping specifically Grafaiai, I have to pick up 2 points worth of Pokemon. I pick up Dusclops because Dusclops is a very good rapid spin blocker, a very good holder of Eviolite with insane bulk, and just in general can be pretty annoying. Frisk is nice. Frisk can tell me items that the opponent will have, but also this gives me opportunity to pick up Cutiefly, and Cutiefly is a web setter. Now there's a chance that these Pokemon don't come very frequently to the battle. I have pretty much been bringing the same 7. I've brought 8 out of my 9 Pokemon this week. Rotom Heat has been on the sideline the whole time, which is very surprising, considering that it's a fire type, and fire types tend to be pretty good in Draft League. However, it's had a bit of a rough time finding its spot on my team. So, but it's going to stick around. I need it for Levitate as a potential Levitator. I need it for being an electric type as well. It probably could have had some case to come this week, but everything else made more sense to me. So this is going to be my team for week 6 on. So for the final 3 weeks, this will be my team. And potentially going into playoffs. So From here, let's take a look at the team that I will be bringing this week. Right. And here is the team that I will be bringing for this match. And it all starts with our Terra captains. They're not next to each other in the order. It's just how I built the team. But it does start with our 2 captains. We have Kapow, the Urshifu Rapid Strike. We're going to be a Choice Scarf this week. Choice Scarf, 252 attack, 252 speed, Jolly. Because we are facing against Single Strike. I do want to not take the chance of being slower, and I would rather take a speed tie, if I'm being dead honest. So that is for sure one thing. Next up, it's going to be running Terra Electric and Terra Blast, Surging Strikes, U-Turn, Close Combat. Terra Blast is in case of a situation where I bring Rapid Strike in front of Torn and it's not Terra'd, and the Terra is used on Single Strike this week instead of on Torn. Then I can just go Terra Electric and click Terra Blast. Otherwise, Surging Strikes should be the click pretty much every other time. Next up, I'll go to my other Terra Captain who's down here. We have the Necrozma sitting. And this week we're actually going to be running another physical set. We're going to be running Choice Band. Terra Flying this week, mainly to deal with the Ogerpon Hearthflame. In case I need to bring this in front of it, I can go Terra Flying and just make its life and just hopefully one-shot it with a Terra Blast. But to go along with that, we are going to be 240 HP, 252 attack, 16 speed in case of speed creeping this week. Because he could just try and speed creep it with something like Suicune, not really have to put that much investment in his Pokemon. Or whatever. If he wants to try and speed creep it exactly, then they'll be left wanting. We're gonna have Photon Geyser, Terra Blast, Iron Head for Sylveon, and Earthquake for Galarian Slowking. Not that Photon Geyser also can't do it, but Earthquake is really only there. Earthquake is also going to be interesting and potentially bad because Torn could be a very good switch into Necrozma if I'm locked into Earthquake. So it's better. I'm better off definitely using Earthquake more sparingly. Second, so then we'll go back up to Meowscarada, running Boots this week. We're going to be going 16 attack, 16 HP, 252 attack, 240 speed to outspeed Tornadus Therian with Triple Axle, Knockoff, U-Turn, Flower Trick. Pretty basic set with U-Turn, Knockoff, Flower Trick, and then just a fourth move. And this week it is Triple Axle. So going to be kind of our Swiss Army knife. Going to want to be using it to switch around. Maybe using it first. Maybe as our lead Pokemon. Meow is just a great lead in general. But yeah, anyways, next up we have our Primarina. We have T-Swift the Primarina running Liquid Voice this week as our ability. Because we have an Urshifu, and if I click Psychic Noise, it will still do damage. Because Psychic Noise, while it prevents heal, it also just provides some good solid. It usually just provides good solid psychic damage. But in this case, I do want it to potentially stop healing while also being able to hit Urshifu on a switch. Even though probably wouldn't really want to switch it into this Pokemon because of Moonblast being a 4x effective move. But if Single Strike is Terra'd out of that weakness, that could be a thing. But anyways, 258 HP, 252 defense, 8 special attack, bold nature. We are running a Calm Mind set this week with Calm Mind, Moonblast, Surf, Psychic Noise. And next up, we have Kaichou, the Kyurem. We're gonna also be running Boots again this week, in case because my opponent could just. I was thinking my opponent would bring Terapagos. Well, I'm thinking my opponent will bring Terapagos, and will bring rocks or spikes of some sorts. So I do want to have that Kyurem doesn't take a ton of damage. We're gonna be running 80 HP, 252 special attack, 176 speed, modest nature, and that I believe would outspeed Suicune. So that's really good. We have Draco Meteor, Focus Blast, Earth Power, Freeze Dry as our move set. And then after this, next up, we have for the second and final time, we have OURPLE Fish, the Clodsire. We're running Black Sludge. We're running Unaware. We are going to be 248 HP, 252 defense, 8 special defense, Impish Nature, with Poison Jab, Earthquake, Recover, and Spikes. Unaware to beat setups. However, just to remember that Ogerpon Hearthflame is Mold Breaker, so Unaware doesn't really work against it. So that's probably the one setup mon that could be a bit scary, but hopefully we can do a lot of. Hopefully our Poison Jab will do a lot and potentially even get a poison. I did consider going Poison Point this week to make it more difficult make it more likely that something like Ogerpon gets poisoned, but I ended up going back to Unaware specifically. So let's see how this plays out. I will be back with the replay of this match. We will see how it goes. And yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, my match this week has concluded against Meta, or as his showdown name is, Slade Arrow. And it was a very interesting match in my opinion, because I came in not really knowing what terrors were going to come my way. It's always kind of a surprise to see what people cook up for their terrors, because sometimes there's just something I didn't consider. This week I didn't do a ton of consideration with the terrors, which I think could have ultimately bit me again, where like I wasn't so sure about it and then I ended up losing. But I was a bit pleasantly surprised, so we'll go right into it. We'll show the first Pokemon. So I led with Meow and my opponent led with Azelf, but as you can see for the Terras, it is Terra Dark on Ursh, so just a stab Terra. And then it's Terra Fairy on Tornadus, which I usually always consider because it's just it's just one of the best Terra types in general. So I was pretty happy to see that. I was like, okay, this is good. I can play kind of around this. We have, especially if we're going to see a Terra Fairy Torn, I can just catch it out with an Iron Head later. And Sylveon as well, so I can catch Sylveon out potentially with one. But yeah, so turn one, I was debating between clicking Knockoff and U-Turn, because this Pokemon takes super effective damage from both. And I thought ultimately that I could try and catch this out. I figured that my opponent would either switch, seeing a bad matchup, or would stay in it and maybe be just Scarf. So either way, I thought Knockoff was best, because if it's a switch, I knock off an item. The only bad switch I guess would have been Ogerpon technically, but then I could still use something like U-Turn to get away and switch. So anyways, we click Knockoff. It is super effective, but it is Focus Sash. I get Endeavored down to 1%. I wasn't the most happy, but I ended up getting a KO with Meowscarada and switching into Necrozma. I just thought Necrozma in this matchup, Necrozma has a really good matchup here. I will have something for pretty much every Pokemon, and it's Sylveon who comes out here. I was a bit surprised to really not see Urshifu, because I can't click any of my, because he's Dark Terra, I can't click like my stab, any of my stabs really into him. And I was Terra Flying, so I would have been forced to go Terra Flying, probably early here, or switch. Either way, he brings out Sylveon. I just click Terra Iron Head. I just go for Iron Head, and I do get the flinch. And that's unfortunate. In comes Slowking. So I was a little bit wondering why this came in, but I also didn't want to mess with it and keep taking damage. So I did just take a switch out to Meow. I was expecting to sack. My opponent just clicked Iron Defense, which I thought was a bit surprising. So I just went with Knockoffs, expecting him to use some move to knock out my Meowscarada, but it turns out that, yeah, it's a good move for him to just click Slack Off, definitely here. I just went for more damage. They went for Focus Blast and Mist, which I think ultimately was a bit of a bummer in the end for my opponent. I ended up just taking a switch here and going to Primarina. I was kind of actually expecting this final move to not be poison. I expected it to be psychic. Even though I have Prim, for sure. So I ended up just sitting in and going Calm Mind, and it was a Psyshock, which was actually pretty good considering that I'm as much defense as I can have. So it's not doing that much to me. I'm just gonna get up 2 Calm Minds, and then I'm going to use Surf, and that did a lot of damage. My opponent does Psyshock me, but Citrus Berry revives me back above half. And a switch into Sylveon eats a Surf, so Primarina takes one of its first knockouts of the season. It hasn't particularly knocked out a ton. It has punched some holes, though. And I'm very happy here. I just decided I switched to Meow and just and just to get I wanted to see what move this was going to, what grass move that Ogerpon was going to have, and it was Horn Leech, because it sometimes can just be if there's a chance it could be Power Whip. There's a chance that it could be some other grass moves to do damage. Either way, I bring Clodsire in, and I'm just gonna click Poison Jab and see what happens, because I'm just trying to catch it out. My opponent did go for a Glow King switch, which was great for me considering I have Earthquake. So I'm just ripping an Earthquake here pretty much, and even with Psyshock coming in, I'm very physically defensive. So I'm pretty happy to take this. It was 40%, so still maybe more than I was expecting, but I did a lot of damage back. I don't want to take another one, so I ended up switching. I ended up switching into Necrozma versus and getting Necrozma versus Torn, which is kind of good for me. He doesn't have a Terra yet, so he just clicks Tailwind, and I click Photon Geyser. Really, this wasn't maybe the best move, because if he just switches to Urshifu here, I'm completely stuck and I'm forced to sack my Prim quick. I'm going to be forced to pretty much immediately sack Primarina, because I think Prim's good into this team, but I have enough from these other 3 Pokemon to win. But instead, Photon Geyser comes in. We do get a U-turn. He goes to Glow King. I think my opponent was just trying to wait for a moment to bring in Urshifu, and ended up costing him his Glow King. Because now he's forced to just stay in and take the sack, which is really good for me. Now that there's just the 3 damage dealers left, I have 5 Pokemon left. I am able to do some sacrificing, and here I don't want to lose my Necrozma, and I don't want to burn Terra, so I just go to Primarina, and I just let him kill, and I just let him use Wicked Blow into me twice. I just let him do it. Not worried about it. Tailwind is... I was waiting out Tailwind in this process. Now I bring Rapid Strike, and I'm thinking, okay, this is a speed tie, potentially. I have to be ready. But he has clicked Wicked Blow, so he can't... So even if he just clicks Wicked Blow and goes first, it's not going to do a ton because I'm Fighting type. It's going to do a lot because it's still going to crit. But instead, Close Combat comes out, gets the clean KO, and my opponent brings out Torn. I switch to Clodsire here on Tailwind. And so I take a Bleak Wind, and I set Spikes, and I thought that this was good for me to set Spikes. It does go U-turn into Ogerpon, and I think I just clicked, not Earthquake, but Recover. So I just recovered. I thought that this was really smart. I expected... I knew I wouldn't die, so I knew I had to recover for free. So here, now I'm at 100%, and I can just go ahead and rip a Poison Jab. It did a lot of damage, 49%, but crucially, it gets the poison. So my opponent now is in a position where the Ogerpon's on, where the Ogerpon is now in a bad spot. Effectively, it's forced to go for Horn Leeches to consistently live. It doesn't get the KO there. I do a large chunk of damage, and it goes down to 9%. I have to make a decision here what I want to do. I could go to Kyurem, and it doesn't take a ton of damage, but I think that because Kyurem is not fast enough, I would probably die to a Ivy Cudgel on the next turn. So I'm going to sack. So I just go to sack Clodsire here. It goes up to 37%, but it takes 12%. So now I see the line. The line from here is just is just to go to Urshifu, which is Choice Scarfed. I'm just gonna click Start. I can just lock into Strikes. Strikes gets the KO. No rock, can't be Rocky, and I don't really know what Torn is. Torn could have still been Rocky Helmet in my opinion, which would have been really close. I go Terra Electric, Surging Strikes. No, he's not. Yeah, he's not that. He's Bleak Wind. It just resists. No confusion is really nice. I would have just switched out. I would have just switched on a confusion into Necrozma, probably just to reset it and bring in. And then I don't think I would have switched. I actually probably could have just switched to Kyurem on it too. But in the end, I get the win against Meta, against Slate Arrow, and it's a 3 Pokemon win, which means I am sitting at 2-3 with a +3 difference. Not bad. I don't know my exact standings, but I should be right outside the playoffs, if not like the 8th spot in the playoffs from now. So we're really hovering. Because we're not quite to the point where things are a bit more solidified. The middle of our division is kind of like right in that area. But if a couple of players in that 4 to 8 spot, if they just win, if they keep winning, then it will be tough for me to make it. But it's possible. I'm very happy with this week. I'm very pleased that I had Clodsire come in and be a big part of a match. I really like Clodsire. I don't think it fit. I think that Overquill fits my team better. I don't have a ground type, but Necrozma can be a ground type as a Terra. Terra ground Necrozma is certainly something that happens. I'm not opposed to something like that at all, but I'm super happy again with this team. And Urshifu Rapid Strike just keeps climbing in the kill category. It got 3 KOs this game. Necrozma picked up one for Meowscarada, one for Air. And I don't know, man. Honestly, when I picked up Rapid Strike, I was like, I'm happy. This Pokemon's quite good. I wasn't sure exactly what to do with it. Exactly how it was going to work. I really was trying to build around Terra Necrozma, and Rapid Strike just works. It's a great Terra Pokemon to go with it. And I've Terra Rapid Strike more. I think I've Terra'd Necrozma once this season, and I've Terra'd Urshifu 4, something like that, or even 5 to none. But regardless, thank you for watching this match. Thank you for watching this video. I guess leave in the comments down below. Do you think that Urshifu can do it and come back in the killed death standings in this league and take the number 1 spot? I will tell you that currently Blaziken is destroying everybody. It has 11 KOs and 1 death, and Urshifu currently has 6 KOs, now 9. Now has 9 KOs and 3 deaths. So can I get my Rapid Strike up there and compete? We will have to see. Just for the record, Meta's team name is the Maryland Misfits, which is a great team name. I was able to do really well with that this week. And I'm not sure if Klecker Blaziken did a ton. So we'll have to see. There's only been a few weeks. We haven't gotten the kickoff kill leaderboard updated. But Urshifu is quickly climbing, would currently be sitting in 3rd right now, but the other matches haven't been updated, and I'm pretty sure Kelder did really good for Chef this week. So, yeah. Let's see if I can even get a top 3. I'll say top 3 for Urshifu should happen this season. For sure. And Kyurem might also get up there pretty quickly. It has 5 KOs. I didn't even come in this game, though. But I have a lot of Pokemon kind of splashing up in that top area. And I just have to get it done. But yeah. I'll see everyone in the next video. Till then, stay safe. And see you then.